Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Emily Haller and I'm here with George Evers of VocaLink. And we're at EBA Day 2016 in Milan. Thank you for joining me, George.
Lovely to see you again.
How would you say the instant payments landscape in Europe has changed in the past few years?
Well, I think it's, to even state that it's changed in the last few years would probably be understating how quickly it's changed. If we think back, it was only November in 2014 that ECB announced that they wanted the community to look at instant payments. And then now we come fast forward, only 2 years from now, which is actually quite fast in terms of payments innovation. I don't think there's a country within the Eurozone that doesn't have a plan or isn't thinking about instant payments. We've seen the community, whether it's through EPC, the ECB, IACA and the banks working together to solve problems that they need to solve as a community, so things like interoperability, etc. So actually things are moving very, very quickly. We have a number of announcements with people going to have infrastructure available. VocaLink has a proven capability that we want to bring into the market as well. So I think it's moving very quickly, and we've been really kind of impressed with the way the community has grabbed hold of the opportunity without the need for regulation. I suspect some lessons learned from the pain of SEPA in terms of regulation driving the change, but actually what we seem to see here is communities and banks and processors grabbing what they see as a real opportunity to innovate.
So what do you think the impact of the pan-European payment scheme will be?
Well, I think based on our experience both in the UK and the other territories where we're putting instant payments platforms on the ground, is we know it's a platform for innovation. We know it's a platform that drives growth and adoption of payments, but for all segments of the bank's customers community. So P2P is an easy one to understand, and we see that and some great examples of that around the world. But actually what we're seeing now, especially with those communities that are thinking about it primarily as innovation rather than responding to a regulatory change, is a real focus on propositions for corporate customers, for business-to-business payments, for the replacement, viable alternative to checks. Especially in the US, we're seeing that happen. So actually, I think if the community thinks about it as a platform for innovation and doesn't constrain its thinking to just retail or person-to-person payments, then there's a huge amount of value that can be driven out of that. And also the evidence and experiences that actually it does become a growing platform on its own. Doesn't cannibalize your existing ACH volumes, doesn't cannibalize other payments platforms, but actually becomes a new platform around which customers adopt across the range. So whether it's individual customers and retail customers all the way through to businesses and government. So if you think about it as that platform for innovation and you think about the value it drives to all those different communities, then I think it'll be very successful.
What can banks and other PSPs learn from experiences with existing schemes about innovating off the back of real-time payments? Yeah,
I think there are a couple of learnings. One of the key ones is try and find a proven solution. They exist now. We are kind of proven in a number of different territories now, going live in the US and in Thailand as well, because actually the technical build is quite complex, and the platform that can perform as a piece of national payments infrastructure and perform to the levels it needs to be in terms of processing many thousands of transactions per second is no mean feat in terms of development effort. The other area is around access, and again we're seeing a focus on that, so making sure that platform and access to that platform has been thought through, so thinking about the community, not just the banks but also other payment services providers as well, and how they might access that platform as well, thinking about solving that problem up front. And I think the other area is to really focus on the value that you can drive to your different customer groups from that platform. Start to think about it as a platform that will improve the receivables management for businesses. Start to think of it as a platform that will underpin the remote channels that your customers use, so for mobile, for internet banking as well, that's still kind of being heavily used. Start to think about the ISO 20022 message set in its broadest sense, so think about richer data that can flow through that central switch, and think about adding in not just the payment flows and the essential elements to move the money, but actually a messaging framework in that central infrastructure that can be shared and that can be reused across the community as well. Because that's when you really start to drive value. So examples of that might be request to pay or request for payment, which is really fascinating innovation which will actually completely revolutionise the way in which businesses collect money. If you can send a simple message saying, I would like to be paid for this gas bill, you leave the consumer in control, but also you have all the information you need to flow back when that payment comes through. So thinking about that built into the central infrastructure, I think is, now is an opportune time. Don't think about doing the minimum, think about driving the maximum value out of that infrastructure today.
George, thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you for watching.